There are a few myths out there in the world about mental illness, and as someone with mental illnesses, I want to help debunk some of those myths. Before we begin, I want to give a little disclaimer. Mental illness is not one size fits all. Depression, anxiety, etc. affect everyone differently. These experiences that I'm going to talk about on my own, and some people that I personally know who have also talked about this stuff. Let's start off with mental illness isn't real. Mental illness isn't real is a popular one. It's not easily viewable, it's invisible, so it must be all in our head. Actually, they may have a point there. I mean, it is literally in our heads, in our brain. It is a chemical imbalance in the brain. Slight joking aside, mental illnesses are very much real. Otherwise, we wouldn't be going through all that we do. Depression is not simply about being sad. It's crippling, it's painful, and it's draining. The difference between being sad and depressed is astronomical. Depression lasts for longer than just a moment. It's something that is likely to keep you in bed or on the couch or just in some small space for periods of time. The feeling of depression can be so strong that your body just aches. It's severe pain all over. It's all just a little step above just simply being sad. People who aren't depressed have a tendency to give depressed people advice on how to deal with or cure the depression. This advice is usually to go outside, exercise, go for a run, and do some yoga because nature is the medicine that you need, not pills. While I will say that the pharmaceutical industry is pretty terrible and even they like to not give medication that actually helps to people who really need it, going outside is not automatically going to be a cure. These things can be helpful as part of a self-care regime, but they are not the cure. I've had friends who would be so much worse without medication. I've known people who have attempted suicide and it turns out their dosage wasn't as high as it needed to be. And as far as exercise goes, I've worked out consistently on and off for many years, and lo and behold, my mental illnesses are still here. There are people who don't quite understand anxiety. They think it's something like a little bit of stage fright and nervousness, but just like depression, it's just so much more than that. You're too scared to be alone or too scared to go anywhere alone, but then you're also too scared to go anywhere with people or to go somewhere where there will be a lot of people. Talking to anyone can seem nearly impossible, and if something embarrassing or something bad happens, it's being thought about constantly to the point that it's consuming you entirely. One thing that really grinds my gears is when people stamp mental illness on someone's forehead, or they say, this person is or has to be mentally ill, about anyone who's a terrible person. Donald Trump is a great example of this. In my personal opinion, Trump is a pretty awful person, but I don't think he's mentally ill. I just think he's completely horrible and someone who lacks empathy. But people love to say that the reason he's so bad is that he has to be mentally ill. All that does is enforce the stigma that's already been there, and it actually makes it bigger. It just damages people like us. Being mentally ill does not mean that you're a bad and violent person, and being a bad and violent person does not mean that you're mentally ill. This doesn't mean that there aren't mentally ill people who do bad things, or that there aren't bad people who are mentally ill, but the two just don't automatically connect just because someone really sucks. You're just choosing to be this way. Just be normal. Be happy. Yeah, that's totally not how that works. We didn't wake up one morning and just decide that we wanted to be excruciatingly sad for an extremely long period of time. It's not a fun time. A permanent unicorn island is definitely preferable, and the pain, the emotions are definitely real. You're just doing it for the attention. I don't know about you, but I can think of quite a few things that I would much rather get attention for than my mental illnesses. Things that are so much more pleasant than depression and anger. There are a lot more myths out there that could be talked about, but if I did, this video would be much longer than it is now. I just wanted to cover some that I can personally relate to. I do have some sources, so if you want to take a look and read some, I'll put them in the description box below. If you want to follow me on my social media, I have my usernames down below. If you want to send a letter or anything, I have my PO box address right up here. Patreon and last video over here. I upload every Monday and Thursday, and I'll see you later. Bye.